Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on in. It's 1TS Daily live right here at One True Sports. I'm your host, Zack Heydorn from Brass Ring Media and Sports Illustrated. Pumped to be here. Glad you're here with me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So this is the show where we talk about the news of the day, the news of the week, and all the happenings in the dirt sheets and elsewhere in the world of professional wrestling. So glad that you're tuning in. We're live here on the One True Sport YouTube channel with this show every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. 11 Eastern, right here, talking about the news in professional wrestling and what's going on and this and that. So thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube, hello. Appreciate you guys being here. If you don't mind, hit that like button for me. It helps us grow the show. Helps us grow the channel and get this thing in front of more eyes. And I'm proud of what we do here, and want more people to see it. So if you can help out with that, that'd be great. If you're watching on Twitter X, hello to you as well. Thanks so much for being here. We got a lot to cover today with AEW Dynamite tonight and NXT last night, and some key news stories out and about in the last 24 hours. So we got a lot to hit. I do have the live chat open, and we got some folks already climbing on in there and getting the conversation going. Anthony is in there. Anthony this morning says, "Hi, Zach." What's up, Anthony? Thanks so much for being here, man. Gustavo says, "Where's RVD?" Well, hey, he's not going to be here today, but he does lend us his Twitter channel for this show, and we certainly appreciate that. So props to RVD. He does a lot of different shows for One True Sport. So subscribe to the One True Sport YouTube channel here, which is where you're watching this, and you will get RVD stuff. So there you go. But thanks, Gustavo, for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Hassan says, "Hi there. The boss has a question that we'll get to. Anthony's got a comment that we'll get to. We are starting off hot." I do have the live chat open, as you can see, and I've got our super chats open as well. If you're able to send a super chat and ask a question that way or make a comment that way, it definitely helps out the show. Definitely helps me out, and I certainly appreciate it. So thank you in advance for the help there. We'll get to all super chats that are made. Those will get bumped up to the top of the queue for the show today. But if not, if you just want to just participate like normal, talk about it in the live chat, and we'll see what we can pull from there. Cool. All right. More on Brass Ring Media, which is what a shop that I run, and Sports Illustrated as well a little bit later. But if you're just starting out the show, you can follow me on social media at Zack_Heydorn to get all my work, but also just live thoughts on all things wrestling and other stuff, sports. The depressing Bears game that happened on Sunday that the boss is giving me a hard time about in the chat. The boss says here, "Hey, Zach, no hard feelings about football. As an Eagles fan, I was rooting for the Bears to win, and I was away in Commanders territory the day of the game and saw the place erupt." Whew, boy, dude. Yeah, you're not kidding. He says, "Heartbroken for your Bears, but the Commanders earned some respect. Sorry it was at your expense." Yeah. Me too, boss. Me too. It's just almost laughable at this point. I was a little angry on Sunday, and now it's got to the point where it's like, okay, that was hysterical. Like, of course that would happen to the Bears, like, of course it would. That's par for the course of being a Bears fan. So hopefully we can get a win this weekend over the Cardinals. If you're a Cardinals fan, sorry, but we need this at your expense this time. So, yeah, tough go. But thanks, boss. Appreciate it. Thanks for your thoughts. Okay, let's start off with some news. Yesterday, a report from PW Insider came out and said that Vince McMahon is working on getting back into the entertainment business with an entertainment company and starting a brand new entertainment company. The report indicates that it is not in the wrestling space at this time, and that it is kind of like more of a studio-esque type venture that would produce movies and shows and other kind of content, both in the nonfiction and fiction realm. And I point you to PW Insider for the full report But that's the situation. Vince working to get back in. This report, I don't know about you guys, and you guys can drop comments in the chat, but obviously this report doesn't surprise me. And I don't know that it should surprise anybody who knows Vince McMahon. Not only does the guy have a massive ego, but which would I think be a driving force in any kind of new venture that he does. But he's also a workaholic. I think if you watch the Netflix documentary on Vince, that he can't not be working. That's his thing. And so, he's got to have something to do. And so this completely makes sense to me, that he'd be, trying to get back in, in this way. And he's got a lot of money, as well. So, he doesn't have to worry about that. He doesn't have to worry about having enough money to, start a new business, even if that business fails. And, none of that will hold him back. So this, so this was just kind of like TikTok for me when he got let go from the TKO group. It's like, okay, when will we see him resurface? Not if we will see him resurface. And, reports indicate he's working to resurface. Now, I heavily question the value that Vince McMahon has, in the entertainment world in 2024. Even if you cast aside, and we'll talk about the lawsuit and just the grotesque allegations against him in a minute, but even if you put those aside, Vince McMahon is almost 80 years old. He, is not like a cutting edge guy, when it comes to entertainment in 2024, like he was, or like he thought he was back when he was, starting up, the push for national expansion with the WWF. Like, he's just not that guy anymore. He's old, and he's just even if you look at his creative endeavors in WWE near the end of his tenure as being the guy in charge, they're not great. They're not great. So I don't know what value he has in that capacity. I don't think it's very much. Now, you put that lawsuit and the allegations back into it, which are, remember, awful, just awful stuff from Janelle Grant and what he's being accused of. And you add that back into the mix, and it's like, nobody's going to want to do business with this guy. I just don't see it. I just don't see it at this point in time. So, he'll try. And he certainly has, like I said, money to pull it off. And he has contacts, and relationships in high places. Maybe on Tuesday, the highest of places. Hopefully not. But he has that. And so he does have leverage in different areas. So we'll see what happens with this. But I just don't see it. I don't see, the value in a Vince McMahon led anything, in here in 2024, between the allegations against him, the lawsuit against him, and the fact that he's just, I don't think, a creative visionary anymore in the entertainment industry. So yeah, he's got money. And yeah, he probably could have some reach, but I don't see it. I don't see it. Let's get to some comments in the chat about this. Let's see here. Anthony says, joking around when it comes to Vince McMahon returning into entertainment, but to be honest, I think he might be going into adult entertainment and opening up an all adult home video company. I don't know, man. Look, Anthony, I don't think you can't put anything past Vince McMahon, for what he would or wouldn't do, at this juncture, or really any juncture in his time, as a creative force in entertainment. But that I think would be very surprising to me, or not surprising, because I think if you can make money at it, he would think about doing it. But boy, talk about kind of like a fall from grace there. Like, nothing against the people in that industry, but I think that industry has a bit of a black mark on it. And if Vince McMahon is there, I don't think that the perception of him gets any better. I almost think it gets worse if he goes down that road. So we'll see. But yeah, it's an interesting thought, Anthony. Thanks for making it. Appreciate it, man. Let's see what else we have here. Anthony also says, I can't believe I'm saying this, Zach, but the constant ripping up of scripts by Vince the past few years, maybe it was a sign that he was suffering from dementia. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we don't have any insight into, well, honestly, like Vince ripping up scripts, that's not like a new thing. That happened for years and years and years and years and years. And we just don't have insight into his medical. So it's I can't sit here and speculate on that. But I mean, he is getting older, and clearly he was a difficult person to work with creatively because his mind did change on a whim. I just would say, Anthony, that I don't think that the ripping up of scripts was a new thing. It seems like that happened forever. So thank you, Matthew. Just with the ... disinterested. I love it. Disinterested in a Vince McMahon return to entertainment. Yeah, you and lots of other people. I think, Matthew, you and lots of other people. Thank you for the comment. All right. Let's pivot over. Let's talk about last night's episode of NXT. So they ran a nice Halloween Havoc video package to start. We covered Halloween Havoc on yesterday's show. Decent show, but nothing necessarily to write home about. But they made it seem like it was one heck of a show with that video package. So props to them on that. All right, the show opened with Tatum Paxley versus Wendy Chu in a casket match. Excuse me. Wendy Chu lost this match to Paxley. You know me, guys. This is another. It turned into another gimmicky holiday-themed match. Like the Lego pieces, acting like thumbtacks. Like, look, on one hand, I get it. I am a father of two toddlers, or one kindergartner, and stepping on those dang Legos hurts, right? I mean, it doesn't feel good. But if you're I could step on one and it stings for a little bit, but it ain't putting me down for the count. And I'm not acting like I was stabbed with a thumbtack. It's not that kind of hurt. So I just don't like it. I don't like when you water down big gimmicks and big spots with silly holiday, comparisons and silly holiday tropes like this one. I think it's interesting to see that Tatum Paxley got the win. It's kind of like Wendy Chu just seemed to be like the bigger pushed star at this point in time. But she doesn't win very often. And over the weekend at Bound for Glory, like she had the team with Rosemary kind of end and break up and not be a thing anymore. So, we'll see. We'll see who's like the more focused star moving forward. But, it was fine. It was a fine match, but Paxley gets the W, and I thought that was telling. I thought that was very telling. All right, so Trick Williams came out next, and just kind of talked about beating Ethan Page in the main event. You had Bubba Dudley out there again. He like I just don't understand the Bubba Dudley thing, outside of the fact that they're going to the ECW arena. So they plugged a tag team match, Trick Williams and Bubba Dudley against Ridge Holland and Ethan Page. So a match that is entirely born of the Angle post-match from Halloween Havoc. That's where they are going to go, and that's about it. I just am not a fan of the Bubba Dudley integration. Like, do the show if you want to have some like callbacks to ECW, that's fine. Like, I got no issue with that. But come on, Bubba Dudley is just not a player in 2024. And ECW was a long, long time ago. like the fan base that you want for NXT and the CW, like most of them weren't even alive during the ECW run, and were kids if they were. So I just don't know like what the benefit here is. I don't think they're going to draw a number because of Bubba Dudley. I think they're going to draw a number because like they're at the ECW arena and NXT's at the ECW arena, and that's that. Like that to me is a good draw. So yeah, it was what it was. All right, we had Charlie Dempsey against Lexis King for the NXT Heritage Cup. Dempsey picked up the win here in the end and retained the NXT Heritage Cup Championship. Zaria made her debut against Brynlee Reese, won that match in 2 minutes and 50 seconds. You saw a lot of different women get into a big backstage brawl within that segment, leading to a big 10-woman match at the 2300 arena next week. And I think that's going to be a cool match. There's a lot of talent in the match. We saw Jordynne Grace make her return to NXT after losing the TNA Knockouts Championship over the weekend. So I think that's telling, that she's immediately featured on NXT. I mean, she's not long for TNA proper, right? She's going to be signed by WWE and be in NXT at some point very, very soon when her contract allows for it. I can almost guarantee that. And she should. She's a really good talent, and I think she deserves that. Kalani Jordan wrestled Nikita Lyons. Jordan beat Lyons in 4 minutes. And again, these results provided by ProWrestling.net. This was very interesting. Remember, like Lola Vice did a job for Nikita Lyons a couple weeks ago, and now Lyons is jobbing out to Kalani Jordan. Now, Kalani Jordan is absolutely a focus of the women's division in NXT, and I think she's like a star prospect out of the NIL, recruitment program that WWE has for its talent. But I think it shows kind of how far Lola Vice has fallen more than anything. And so, something to look at. All right. Then we had Nathan Frazier and Axiom. They took on Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Axiom and Nathan Frazier defeated Alexander and Evans. They retained those titles. Wesley and Evans brawled backstage after the fact. These two are on a collision course for a match, and that is how it ended. They had a major angle where Rhea Ripley, who was involved in that Big 10-woman kind of brawl and scrum earlier, where she got attacked, in the backstage parking lot, of course. And man, it was pretty vicious. Like she had some blood on her. She looked like she was selling it like really, really strong and really effectively. So, I'm curious as to where they go. With that. I don't think they have a very compelling card for the 2300 arena next week. I mean, they've got some some gimmicky stuff like Bubba Dudley, like Trick Williams, but and they're going to certainly have some surprises, RVD, but it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't seem like to be on the same level of the premiere in Chicago on CW or the week after in St. Louis. Like this seems to be more of just like a regular NXT show with some main roster talent. I think that will be involved. So I just I don't know. I think I would have expected them to put a little bit more juice behind this. And they haven't, at least not yet. So we'll see kind of what happens here. Let's get to some comments on NXT. Anthony says, honestly, when it comes to reviewing NXT, I'm predicting it's going to be revealed that little Guido has been controlling the family from behind the scenes because he's the boss of all bosses. Yes, so they did a angle where where Tony D'Angelo's on the phone with somebody. Anthony also says the phone call that Tony had with Nunzio, and I think when we get to the 2300 arena, they're going to reveal that Nunzio has been given the orders. I mean, that would be funny in the moment, I think. But I don't know, Anthony, like, doesn't that kind of undercut Tony D'Angelo a little bit? Like, all this time he's like the big boss, and now little Guido comes in and he's the boss. Like, I don't know. I think that could undercut Tony D'Angelo quite a bit. So I'm not sure if I agree with that, but it would be funny in the moment. That's for sure. Anthony also says here, I hope they're laying the seeds for Oba Femi, leading a stable with Nakia Lyons, Tyson DuPont, and Tyreek. Maybe those seed plantings are not going to lead to anything. Yeah, I don't know. I don't love Oba Femi and Nikita Lyons like together. Like, it just seems like Oba Femi and Nikita Lyons both need to be on their own. Like, they both need to stand alone as singles talents, not, join each other in either a relationship or a faction. Oba Femi, he's got such upside, and I just think that if you kind of water him down with a stable of talent that's just really not credible at all, yeah, he can kind of elevate them perhaps, but I don't know that I've seen enough of any of them to like deem them worthy of standing next to Oba Femi. My take, but it's more so because I just think Oba Femi has such a high upside. So yeah, thanks, Anthony. Appreciate you, man. The boss says here, Bubba's just trying to get subscribers to bust it open. Yeah, well, he is that. That's for sure. I mean, that and the payday that he's getting here, but he was in 2 segments. He was in that in-ring segment. He was in another segment backstage. It's like, dude, it's 2024. You got to get Bubba Ray Dudley off the TV, just like in TNA. You got to get JBL off the TV. In AEW, you got to get these Costco people off the TV. God darn it. What are we doing? Thanks, boss. Okay. Speaking of AEW Dynamite, tonight we've got a Halloween themed. It's Fright Night Dynamite. And there's some big matches on the show. The card is as follows. It is Swerve Strickland against Shelton Benjamin. Adam Cole is going to face Buddy Matthews. Camille wrestles Chris Statlander. They're promoting an appearance from Orange Cassidy. And also a major tag team title match, the Young Bucks defending the titles once again against Private Party. So a lot to note here. The first, and I think the biggest story really is, frankly, it's Adam Cole. I think it's really, really, really important to see how he looks in a match. Like, has he slowed down? Sure, there's going to be some ring rust there, no question about it. But part of this, what makes this guy so great, is that he's great when the bell rings, and if that starts to slip, it's not good for him, and he's not in a great place as it is from a character perspective. So I am real curious to see what they do here, and how Cole does in the ring and in his match. I think it's just really going to be interesting to watch him go. He's got a great partner to work with in Buddy Matthews. So I expect the match to be fine, but really I'm just looking to see, how Cole looks in there. Clearly, I think Cole's going to get the win here. Obviously they're on a path towards Cole versus MJF at Full Gear. So he's got to win this match to get there. And Buddy Matthews certainly isn't beating Adam Cole on Cole's first night out. But yeah, the bigger story here is the real story of how can Cole, how does he do? How does he look, and how does he perform? So we'll see. Swerve Strickland versus Shelton Benjamin. Benjamin with MVP. They've been building this up for a few weeks. Is this the time where we see Bobby Lashley come in? Makes sense to me. And if I were a bet man on pro wrestling, I would bet that we see Bobby Lashley here tonight on the show. To me, they're building a Swerve Strickland versus somebody match with MVP at Full Gear. Like, that's the only avenue, it seems, at this point for Swerve Strickland to have a match at Full Gear. And you're doing the Benjamin match here. I don't think he's going to wrestle MVP. So you have to introduce, that other act. And, this is a great spot to do that. You could give Benjamin a win, if Lashley gets involved and costs Swerve the match. It gives the feud between MVP's group and Swerve more depth, and also just makes Benjamin a little bit more credible. And obviously also, it also just makes Lashley look pretty powerful upon entering the company. So I don't have any news to break on that, but it makes sense to me that that would be how that match goes. And I think we're in for a surprise on old Fright Night Dynamite tonight. The AEW tag team titles, oh man, I don't know. I don't know. Do people care about Young Bucks matches anymore? It doesn't seem like it. I fully expect this match to be good. I don't know if the Moxley crew gets involved here, to cost Private Party their opportunity and thus them breaking up, because that's the stipulation. If Private Party loses, they break up. It would just seem bizarre if the Young Bucks lost the titles here. I don't see it at this point in time. I just think, they're too important, and now they're involved in the Young Buck or in the Jon Moxley storyline on the periphery. So they just kind of need the titles for that, in my eyes. And so I'll take the Young Bucks here, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to say. It just doesn't seem like the Young Bucks are as compelling as they once were in AEW. And I think that's telling with this match specifically. Camille and Statlander, okay, I think that's going to be fine. And Orange Cassidy set to appear. Look, we need to see some fire from Orange Cassidy. It's going to be Cassidy versus Moxley at Full Gear in the main event for the world title. That's what's brewing. And for that to brew properly, you need to have Cassidy be able to cut some kind of promo on that group. And I think he can do it. I made the argument last week that it was kind of goofy seeing all the Young Dark Order and those guys kind of waiting outside they seemed like a gang of 12-year-olds for Blackpool Combat Club to show up. You don't want that. But you do, that didn't work. But Cassidy did. When he's looking down at Chuck Taylor and his friends beat up, and he's able to sell that. I think people care about Orange Cassidy. I think they care about his journey, and I think they could get behind him. You got to sell that tonight. You got to sell that tonight when he makes his appearance. And so that should be a very interesting segment. The boss is in the chat here and says, if Private Party splits, I think Isaiah can do wonders as a single star. Quinn, I think, is injury prone. Also, I'm not sold on their mic work or Stokely being a babyface. Should be interesting for the three. Yeah, I mean, look, if I had to pick, I'd be higher on Isaiah Cassidy than I would be on Mark Quinn. But I haven't seen it from either of them at this point. I just don't see yet an avenue to even kind of a mid-level star for them. I think they don't have good instincts at this point in time, about how to be good pro wrestlers. I don't think they know how to get heat as heels. I don't think they know how to shine up as baby faces. I think they just know how to go out there and have really good matches and do some cool moves. And sometimes that's all it takes. But if you want to be a bigger star in this business, either as a tag team or singles wrestler, you got to have more to the game than that. And I think that they are still very much looking to find that somehow. And they haven't up until this point. Anthony says here, honestly, I'm still predicting that the incident with his number one contenders match getting taken away from him. I think Darby turns and he joins Moxley. Oof. Anthony, you were making some bold predictions today, my friend, on the old show. I cannot go out on that ledge with you. I will not be there. I think Darby, to me, Darby is somebody that you put against Mox not join up with, because like he's like the perfect counter to Moxley and everything that Moxley's saying about AEW. So I disagree, but I like the bold prediction, man. And I'll be the first one to say, Anthony, you were right if that if that happens. So I love it. I love the bold predictions. Keep them coming. Whew, oh man, good God, the time just goes and goes and goes and goes fast. So we'll wrap up there. We'll have a full Dynamite review tomorrow here on 1TS Daily, as well as all of your news and notes and nuggets. Tune in tomorrow, 11 Eastern. We're here every day on the One True Sport YouTube channel with your quick hit news show, 1TS Daily. I'm Zack Heydorn. You can check out more of my work at Brass Ring Media. We have a YouTube channel. We're live all throughout the week with different shows and different hosts there. We also are our written work is on Substack. You can check that out as well. We've got columns and features and different stories and different editorials and different reviews and stuff going up on Substack every single day. So check that out. Subscribe. It's totally free to do it. And once again, follow me on social media at Zack_Heydorn. Anthony wants me to read his comment about Nick and Matt. Let me see if I can find it here. I don't know that I see a comment from Nick and Matt, Anthony. Let me see. Let me keep scrolling. Anthony, there's a couple little Guido ones. There's your NXT one. There's another one for that. Here we go. Found it. All right. Anthony says here, honestly, I don't think the Young Bucks get help from the Blackpool Combat Club, because I think in the back of Moxley's mind, all the issues in the locker room are caused by Nick and Matt. Yeah, interesting. I think that that's clearly like an angle that they're playing up, like the Young Bucks hovering around what's happening, not really doing anything, not really grabbing or taking a side, just kind of letting it happen. I think that like their paths could cross. You could see the Young Bucks, like if Tony Khan wanted to turn them babyface, they probably could within this storyline. But I don't see that coming. So yeah, we'll see how they intermingle. But I think it's a good note, Anthony. Thanks. All right, you guys. Thanks so much. Thanks to Anthony. Thanks to the boss. Thanks to everybody who tuned in on Twitter and on YouTube, and everybody who's listening to this after the fact recorded. Thank you. Hit like on the video if you can. Helps us out greatly. I appreciate it. I'm Zack Heydorn. This is 1TS Daily on One True Sport. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll talk to you guys really, really soon. See ya. Blue World Order.
This episode of Mind of the Meeting is hosted and